Hello and welcome to Old Charles, the home of coin stories. Today, we're diving deep into a genuine piece of British history. We're talking all about the 1966 2-shilling piece, its history, its design, and the million-dollar question: what is its value today? First things first, let's clear up the name. This coin has a denomination of 2 shillings, but it was more commonly known as a florin. The florin was introduced way back in 1849 as Britain's first step towards a decimal currency. It was worth 1/10 of a pound. For over a century, the florin was a workhorse of British commerce. But its world was about to be turned upside down. The 1960s saw Britain preparing for a monumental shift: decimalisation. The old system of pounds, shillings, and pence, with 12 pence to a shilling and 20 shillings to a pound, was complicated. The country decided to move to a simpler system where the pound would be divided into 100 new pence. The official decimal day was set for February 15, 1971. And that brings us to our star of the show, the 1966 florin. This coin was minted in the final years of the old system. It was part of the transitional coinage. It continued to be legal tender after decimalisation, with a value of 10 new pence, until it was finally demonetized in 1993. On the obverse, we have the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This is the famous Machin portrait, which is iconic in its own right and is still used on British coins today. You can see the inscription, Elizabeth II D.G.Reg.F.D, which stands for, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The reverse is where the real story is. It was designed by Christopher Ironside. It features a crowned rose, the emblem of England, with a thistle leaf on one side, a leek on the other, and a shamrock below the rose. This represents the 4 nations of the United Kingdom: the rose for England, the thistle for Scotland, the leek for Wales, and the shamrock for Northern Ireland. Okay, let's get to the heart of the matter. What is this coin actually worth? I need to be very clear here, because there's a lot of confusion online. The 1966 2-shilling coin is extremely common. In fact, with a mintage of 140 for 45,000 pieces, it is one of the most common pre-decimal coins you can find. Let that number sink in. Over 140 million were struck. They were made in huge numbers to circulate in the final years of the old system and to help people get used to the idea that a florin was the same as 10p. So, for a worn, circulated 1966 florin that you might find in your granddad's old suit jacket, the value is essentially face value. Or, in today's money, about 10 pence. You might be able to sell it to a collector for 50 pence to £1, just as a curiosity or a filler for a collection. But it is not rare. But wait. I hear you say. I saw one on eBay for £500. Yes, you did. And you also see people selling a used biro for £1 million. It doesn't mean it sells. Listings are not sales. The asking price is not the market value. The value for a standard 1966 florin in brilliant uncirculated (BU) condition, that means a coin that never entered circulation, is pristine, and has its original mint luster, is considerably higher for a collector wanting a perfect example. A coin like this can be worth between £5 and £15, depending on the seller and the grade. It's a lovely piece of history to own in this condition, but it's still not a life-changing sum. Now, this is where it gets exciting. While the standard 1966 florin is common, there are specific varieties and errors that are genuinely valuable. This is what you need to be looking for. The most famous one is the London Mint proof-like issue. These coins were struck to a higher standard with polished dies, giving them a mirror-like background and frosted design. They were sold in special sets. They are much scarcer than the business strike coins and can be worth £50 to £100 or more if in perfect condition. Next, keep your eyes peeled for die errors. Look for things like erased, thin line on the coin's surface, caused by a cracked die. A coin that was misstruck, perhaps off-center. A duplication in the design elements, caused by a misalignment during the die creation process. While major errors are rare on any coin, finding one on a 1966 florin would make it worth a significant premium, perhaps £20 to £100 plus, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. First, handle it carefully, always hold a coin by its edges. The oils from your fingers can damage the surface over time. If you have a nice, uncirculated example, the best thing to do is to store it in an airtight capsule or a good quality cardboard coin flip. For a circulated coin, a simple plastic bag or a jar is fine, but avoid letting it rattle around with harder objects that can cause scratches. Finally, where can you find them? Everywhere. Coin dealers, flea markets, online auctions like eBay, and of course, in old collections handed down through families. They are incredibly accessible, which is part of their charm. So, the 1966 2-shilling coin might not be your ticket to an early retirement, but its value is so much more than just monetary. It is a tangible piece of a pivotal moment in British history. It's the last of its kind, a beautiful and symbolic farewell to the world of shillings and pence. International trade **** other nations were adopting decimal systems, and Britain felt pressure to modernize to facilitate smoother trade. This first florin was a radical departure. It was the first British silver coin to omit the words Dei Gratia, by the grace of God, earning it the nickname the godless florin. This, combined with the omission of the traditional FID, death. Fidei Defensor, or Defender of the Faith, on the initial design, caused a public and religious scandal. The post-World War II era saw the final, serious push for decimalization. A government committee was established in 1961, and in 1966, the decision was officially announced. Decimal day would be 15th February 1971. This is the critical context for the 1966 florin. It was part of what numismatists call the pre-decimal transitional series. The Royal Mint began designing a new decimal coinage but also continued to produce the old denominations to ensure there were enough coins in circulation right up to the switch. The 1966 florin, therefore, was not a new coin, but a continuation of an old design, minted in massive numbers to serve a dual purpose. 1. To circulate as 2 shillings in the old system. 2. To familiarize the public with the idea that this coin would be worth 10 new pence in the new system. It was the last 2-shilling coin ever minted for general circulation. After 1966, the denomination was discontinued, making it the final heir to a 117-year lineage. The specific design of the 1966 coin is rich with symbolism, representing a unified Britain on the cusp of change. Features the portrait of a young Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin. This portrait is iconic and is still the basis for the Queen's effigy on UK coins today. The inscription reads, Elizabeth II D.G.Reg.F.D, restoring the Dei Gratia, phrase that had been omitted from the very first florin. It features a crowned rose, the traditional emblem of England. Flanking the rose are a thistle, for Scotland, and a leek, for Wales, with a shamrock, for Northern Ireland, below the crown. This was a deliberate and elegant representation of the 4 nations of the United Kingdom, a fitting finale design for a coin of the realm. Composition *** cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, weight ** 11.31 grams, diameter ** 28.5 millimeters, mintage ** 140, for 45,000. This enormous number is why it is so common today. On decimal day, 15th February 1971, the old penny and shilling system ceased to be legal tender. However, the florin, and the shilling, were given a long grace period due to their convenient size and value. They continued to circulate alongside the new decimal coins with a value of 10 new pence. This dual circulation lasted for over 2 decades. It was only on 30th June 1993 that the pre-decimal florin was officially demonetized. It could no longer be used to buy goods and services. By this time, a smaller, lighter 10p coin had been in circulation for years, making the old florin obsolete. The 1966 2-shilling coin is historically significant because 1. It is the last of its kind, ***. It was the final 2-shilling coin minted for general circulation in Britain. 2. It marks a pivotal moment. ***. It is a tangible artifact of the great